What is up, homies? Welcome back to another reaction from Heroes Reforged. Today we are reacting to the first trailer for Marvel Studios' She-Hulk, coming August 17th.
Correction, She-Hulk : Attorney at Law.
Whatever.
No, dude.
It was called She-Hulk for the last year.
Push up the glasses. Push up the glasses.
Correction. In episode 4 of...
Oh, God. Hector, congratulations. You had to wait for once for a trailer.
I know.
Hey, man, I love this character so much. She-Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time. One of the best lawyers in the Marvel Universe. Get out of here, Matt Murdock. I love you too, buddy. But I love that the show is called Attorney at Law.
Yeah.
I think it also adds to, I think it's also funny. I think it adds to, like, this is what type of sense of humor this is going to be. Yeah. You know, to even let people clicking on it, like She-Hulk Attorney at Law. What? Good. That's what. Especially
if you don't know anything about She-Hulk as a character and you don't know that she's a lawyer, like it's going to be like a what? Huh? Which I'm guessing is going to happen a lot if people are only into the MCU rather than reading the comics. So let's get into your favorite character, Hector.
Being a superhero
Banner
is a trial by fire. Who's gonna protect the world if not people like you?
Oh, we're starting off strong. Yes.
I'm Jennifer Walters. I'm a lawyer. I have great friends.
Can we get some shots, please? It's an emergency.
A demanding job.
We just started a superhuman law division, and I want you to be the face of it.
Well.
And
look who showed up.
Abomination.
Because you didn't ask for this, but you still got to deal with it. The transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
those are like the baseline of any woman just existing.
That's
like,
great.
if I don't transform, I'm gonna die.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yes. No.
I just want to be a normal, anonymous lawyer.
Can you tell us where She-Hulk is?
Jen, you're a story now.
Yeah.
Girl, your ass looks crazy right now. You could be an Avenger.
Oh, I'm not a superhero. That is for billionaires and narcissists and adult orphans for some reason.
Is that a Ninja Turtle? Oh, there's Abomination. Oh, this looks good.
Is there anything more depressing than dating in your 30s?
Yeah, this is the best date I've had in a while.
Oh.
Should we split some fries?
Let's get those to go.
Is that you, Hector? I think it's you.
Oh, baby.
Looks like you.
That's as spicy as it comes. That's better than Luke Cage's coffee situation. French fries and coffee? What?
Getting fries to go is going to be the new catchphrase. Let's get those fries to go and get some coffee on the way home.
Hector's about to get fries to go with this trailer.
Yeah, oh my God.
Spicy boy.
So we found out it's a 9-episode season, which means they're likely going to be 30-minute episodes. I think it's the first one since What If?
WandaVision. Yeah, how many episodes was What If? Was that
What If was 9 and there were 30-minute episodes,
yeah.
so this is the first show since then, which it kind of seems like it fits the style of this type of a show, because I think that when they pitch the concept or announce the concept, it's like procedural, somewhat comedic, law-based show. So I guess that kind of fits the tone. And
Emil Blonsky is in this. Emil Blonsky.
Yeah, we got the Abomination back. I mean, we saw him. We saw him in what did we see in Shang-Chi, right?
Shang-Chi. Well, we saw
Shang-Chi. Sorry,
yeah,
Shang-Chi.
we saw Abomination. No Emil Blonsky. So
yes,
I think that was like a fun little tease to be like, oh yeah, these characters are still existing in this universe, and here's where they're at.
That face on Hulk when he's like, you better transform, because she's like, this thing's gonna kill me. He's just like, classic Mark Ruffalo expression.
Adam, you saw this in the ProRes version. What are your thoughts on the VFX?
Hulk looks really good, and I think the advantage of Hulk is that they've been using a very advanced model of the Hulk for 10 years now, because in the first Avengers movie he looks really good, and they've just kind of elevated that. So I don't know how easy it is for them to just kind of take what's already pre-existing with the smaller budget that they have and translate that to an original series. Whereas with Jennifer Walters, it's a little bit different, because she looks much more like Tatiana Maslany, whereas Mark Ruffalo's Hulk looks like Mark Ruffalo, but it's kind of like Thanos where it's exaggerated. You know, he's got a bigger head, bigger chin, bigger forehead.
The everything's kind of between his nose and upper lip is larger. There are things about the Hulk character. Also, he has
it kind of breaks the uncanny valleyness of everything.
Yes, he has inhuman proportions, but he still has human quality, so we can kind of like buy it. But the fact that he has such inhuman proportions helps sell the illusion, and that's always been the tricky thing about She-Hulk is she basically has a human woman's proportions, but at 7 feet tall. You know, so that's going to be a real challenge is to sell that. Yeah, not Thanos. It's not Hulk.
Right, and I would say in the version of the trailer that I'm watching, it looks good, but there are definitely some shots where I'm going, oh, this still needs some finessing and some work. I think the thing that throws me off about it is the texture of her skin looks almost too smooth, and it feels kind of floaty in some shots. And obviously, I don't know if that's by design or whatever the case may be. I feel like there's not enough like weight on her. Whereas with Hulk, he kind of feels big and bulky. Same thing with Thanos. Like they feel like they take up a lot of weight when they're walking through a scene. Whereas She-Hulk feels a little bit like lighter. And I don't know if that's working for it or against it. So I think it's something like the close-up shot at the end where she's in the bar talking to the guy, like that looks pretty good. But then it's just some of the walking stuff and some of the action stuff that I'm like, it's still a little rough around the edges.
Hector, tell us about She-Hulk's power set. Is it identical to Hulk? Does she have any weaknesses? Is there anything we should be looking out for?
As far as I know, like for example, Miles Morales has the same powers as Peter Parker, except he's got the stinger and he can go invisible, and that, you know, there's some differences here and there. As far as I know, She-Hulk has the same abilities as Hulk. The difference, of course, is that Hulk has that thing. I mean, at least the normal version of Bruce Banner Hulk is that he can't control his transformations. But now with Professor Hulk, it's very different. Like those rules are different. And She-Hulk has pretty much since almost nearly after she started. In the beginning, she was very similar to Bruce, where she was like, I'm losing emotional control and I'm going to Hulk out. But eventually it became I can choose to Hulk out, stay in this form. I retain my full human intelligence. And there's a lot of storylines where Jennifer grapples with like, man, why am I even normal human Jennifer Walters when I can just be this awesome, super Amazonian, you know, tall, statuesque, supermodel-esque superhero with super strength and everything. And I like the bit at the end with the dating, because that's part of it too, is that She-Hulk would date human men when she was in her She-Hulk form. And she wasn't, she didn't have hangups about dating shorter men, because you know what? It's short King Summer, baby. So I don't know how much the show is going to go into like comparing and contrasting her abilities with Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner's abilities. I'm sure that it will. I'm sure by the end of the show, we'll have a clearer idea, just like how the end of Moon Knight, I think we were all like, okay, this is what Moon Knight can do. And this is what type of person he is. And these are the identities that encompass Moon Knight. I think we're going to get a similar thing with this. At the end of this, it'll be like, okay, here's who She-Hulk is. Here's who Jennifer Walters is. Here's her relationship with Bruce Banner. And I bet you this show's also going to leave Bruce in a place that's going to be really interesting. And it's like, oh, where are we going to see him next? A movie? Another TV show? Season 2 of She-Hulk? We won't know. This is this sort of sneaky backdoor pilot way to do more Banner Hulk stuff, where I wouldn't be surprised if this was setting up a World War Hulk storyline or like, well, we've done versions of Planet Hulk, but like going forward, maybe Amadeus Cho is going to be in this show. Like, I think this is going to be the show where they brought back Tim Roth as Emil Blonsky. I would not be surprised if we saw Liv Tyler return as Betty Ross. This is the Hulk show. This is the Hulk's show.
But it's still the Hulklings.
A Hulk fan, right? Even Hulkling could appear in this because we haven't met that character yet. But anyway, it's going to be Jennifer's show. She's the lead. But like, to answer your question about the powers, as far as I know, pretty much the same. Nothing different or anything. But we'll see. I'm excited.
One more big thing, you guys. We are seeing Hulk with no shriveled up arm. Timeline? Fix his arm?
Yeah, well, because in Shang-Chi, in the post-credits scene, he had a sling on his arm, but it was more healed up, I think.
But he was human Banner.
Yeah.
Right.
We're seeing no sling here. Very important. Even in the last jumping shot, looks very healthy and strong. Could potentially be post or pre Endgame, Infinity War.
Man, in the 5-year gap? That would be
Ooh.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I think
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that Marvel would spend so much time in that time period.
Well,
I think they could only because I feel like the arm situation has been played up for such a long time that like we are going to get a resolution to how he either fixes his arm or what experiments he does on his arm, or I'm just really hoping for a World War Hulk, basically. That's like, I'm hoping too much gamma radiation hits this dude, and She-Hulk and the Hulklings and Amadeus Cho have to come in and wreck this fool. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. Adam's still not convinced.
No, not at all.
Tell us why, Adam. Tell us why.
I think the world feels too vibrant for the tone of what the 5-year gap was established as in Avengers Endgame. Very somber, very dark. I think it'll also depend what other characters show up in it, obviously. We know that Wong is in it. He was listed as part of the cast, and I don't know how much he plays into the story because we know we see him with Abomination. So it'll be tough to say who else shows up.
I also think that for simplicity's sake, I think that they will, because imagine if they had set up flashbacks in this show where it's like, here's Jennifer Walters training with Bruce Banner. Bruce still hasn't messed up his arm, so this is in the 5-year gap, and they're on a deserted island somewhere is what it looked like.
It could be. Yeah.
Why didn't Jennifer show up in the Endgame fight in the movie? And I know it's because they didn't, schedule that out and everything, but it's like I think what we're describing, they kind of did with the movie Captain Marvel. They did a whole movie that's like, here's a flashback, here's who she is, so she's gonna show up in Endgame, and they go, here's some backstory on Ant-Man and the Wasp. The Wasp is fully active as the Wasp. This happens right before Avengers Endgame. They're both going to show up in Avengers Endgame, or it happens before Infinity War. They're both going to show up in Avengers Endgame. And I feel like it would have been too tempting to have a final battle where She-Hulk is also running in there. So I think for simplicity's sake, this is going to be post-return of everybody through the blip. But I feel like they're absolutely going to address the arm. That's going to be a huge point. Here's some Eagle Eye stuff that we have to talk about. From The Good Place, actress Jamila Jamil shows up as Titania. For one quick shot, her costume looks glamorous and comic booky and wild, and she's a great She-Hulk villain. And I think that we see right after she punches somebody, the guy looks like Kick-Ass, but I think it might be
Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles, baby.
I think that might be freaking Frogman. Guys, they had the Wizard in Jessica Jones season 2. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many great goofy ass Marvel characters that, like, I'm so excited that potentially Frogman and Titania for sure. Titania is going to be in this. I really like when She-Hulk is She-Hulk. Her hair looks great because it's so voluminous. I think she looks great. I cannot wait for the show.
Heart eyes throughout this whole reaction that we do for this show. Just like
Jesus Christ.
Hector with heart eyes.
Emojis, heart emojis. Yeah. It looks so fun. I can't wait.
So you think the VFX look good?
I do, but I think that obviously we're going to
That's the question I want answered from both of you.
I mean, I think that they do, but I'm going to want context. I saw people talking about the VFX today, and I feel like, again, man, like it's a different challenge than just Hulk but a woman. There is, when you factor in why Hulk, Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo looks as good as he does after years of them figuring it out. They didn't get it right the first time. They were really figuring out how much what they need to push and pull to get it to look like Hulk, but still Ruffalo and still convincing as a being in real space. I think that they might have to figure some of that stuff out with She-Hulk, but I think that it does look like Tatiana Maslany, taller, bigger. Like, it does look like, and her personality's in there and stuff. So if the question is this VFX good because do you buy it, or does it just look like it's CG to you? Well, I need to watch the context of the scenes. I want to see if I'll be able to buy that she's stepping out of a car, or that she's at this vineyard with her friends or whatever. Like, if all of that works, then that's going to help. Abomination looks
the way I look at it is put them side by side, because there's two close-ups of each character of Hulk and She-Hulk, and when you put them side by side like that, you look at Ruffalo. He's got the wrinkles, he's got the scruff, he's got some of the texture on the skin, the wrinkles, and all that sort of stuff. And then you put She-Hulk next to that, and it looks much smoother. And I think that's like that to me is kind of the tough part about selling this type of a look. Is you want it to kind of look, flawless and sort of like really clean, but you run the risk of it just looking too computerized. And that to me is the tough part.
And it's the same thing with even drawing 2D drawings in a comic book. you can add wrinkles and stuff to Hulk's face and make him look monstrous, but still be like cool looking and everything. And you can't add lines to women characters' faces usually, because once you start doing that, if you're trying to add definition and make things look realistic, the more lines you add, the more a character is going to look like they're older and have wrinkles and, you know, have and more monstrous in some cases. And that's not She-Hulk. She does, for lack of a better word, have kind of like a perfect face or like a perfect, you know, physique, like a Steve Rogers or whatever. So it's tough to just see. It's like, imagine if there was a CG Chris Evans but bigger, or a CG Hemsworth but bigger in a scene. Using Hobbit technology to just make Hemsworth bigger. The good news is that it doesn't look like an actor wearing green paint. But then again, maybe that would be preferred to some audiences, because it would be like, well, I know that's an actor and I know it's not a CG character. So yeah, I'm looking at
at least use that as a reference. But I think I agree with Adam here. There are some scenes that look very floaty. Don't necessarily buy into them, but once again, need the context to figure out how they fit in the world. But trailer material, who knows? We didn't expect this to come out so quickly. Who knows if they're done? Not sure.
I mean, they've been working on this for a long time, because it was originally going to have an earlier release, but obviously pushed it because everyone is struggling to get visual effects done for every movie.
Yeah,
I'll also say too that close-up shot of She-Hulk right at the end, where she's at the dinner table, and it's zooming in on her face as she says, "Let's get those fries to go." I think that shot looks really great. And I have it paused right there. And if I pull up the Ruffalo, I'm sure that I would be like, yeah, this looks good. But is that scene, does it have the best lighting to really show off this CG character, you know, as a showcase to put in a trailer? I don't know. Probably not. It doesn't, versus the great lighting that Ruffalo had when he was on the island earlier. That stuff looked great.
Well, also,
I mean, I think like the comparison I always use is like, how did Thanos look when we first saw him in the Infinity War trailer? We're pretty blown away by it.
Yeah.
I also think about the situations in which we see Hulk. We don't necessarily see Hulk in a lot of complex light situations. Maybe one main light type of situation outside, maybe, or we saw him like inside a lab, which has pretty stark lighting, inside like a coffee shop, which has pretty stark lighting.
I can't freaking wait. The tone looks perfect, pitch perfect. I'm so sure that Matt Murdock is going to show up now, dude. This dude is in play. This dude is in play in the MCU. Okay, maybe he's going to show up with little Spidey Man. I don't know. That's not going to happen because nobody remembers Peter Parker. But this show is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And really fun. I really like Adam's post where he's like, all these visual effects experts talking about it on Twitter.
And then people responding like, it just looks bad. I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to like it. But don't pretend like you understand the process of what it takes to make it, to be a critic of it.
Or to flippantly ask a question or say something as though that wasn't like step one of these visual effects artists figuring this out. We're talking about
you think that they like went to the reviews and looked at the shots and were like, anyway.
We're dummies too, because we're just repeating the same stuff that I'm sure Marvel Studios, the visual effects houses, the visual effects
supervisors been talking about it for months.
And years. You know, how's She-Hulk going to work? Whenever we get to She-Hulk, what are all the problems that we have to solve? They've worked and tweaked through all of that. And if this is the result they got, I'm stoked to see what the product is going to be. But
and sometimes, we're gonna and sometimes it's gonna happen. We're gonna watch the show and we're gonna go, yeah, the visual effects were not the best. Let's see how they make it better for the next one. Guys, that's just how it is.
Listen, y'all, I still hate Hawkeye, so it's not like a show is gonna change people. No, I'm just kidding.
Thankfully, this is not a Sonic version 1 situation. Not by a lot.
Exactly.
She's looking great, and this show is great. Cannot wait.
Yeah, we'll see. August 17th. We're gonna have 3 weeks off between Miss Marvel and this, and it'll be a very good time. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about this first trailer for She-Hulk. Who do you think is going to appear? That'll be an interesting conversation when we get to it. Let us know. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you guys in the next reaction. Bye.
Bye.